season. Next Sunday, we are leaping into Advent, the 4 seasons of the 4 Sundays of preparation before Christmas. It's so nice to have all of you here today. We are going to be doing our annual Thanksgiving in-gathering today. That is a tradition that well exceeds the time that I've been here. Maybe Sally can tell us that maybe we've done it just for generations at Aldersgate. Yeah, so we'll be bringing forward after the sermon a response to God for God's generosity to us. We'll be bringing forward food for the food pantry and also our pledge cards. Many of you received your pledge cards last week or in the mail, and the basket will be for those. So, Thanksgiving and Gathering Sunday. So glad you're here. Many of you have shared prayer requests with me during the week. Also, some of you wrote on the clipboards as you walked into the room to add to the lists. And so I thank you for giving your joys and your concerns. I see them all. Let us be that you would hear us as we join together to pray the prayer that Jesus taught us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Is it special music? Oh, good. We're so glad that Ray's with us to be able to sing us some special music this morning. thinking to myself, pretty soon, about 8 weeks, you're going to be 94 years old, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Why don't you give him a hand? Yeah.
Rachel, I thank the Lord and I thank all the nice people that have been good to me since I come to this service. And I married Sarah, and I got the most beautiful, wonderful family that I ever stepped into. God bless them all.
Good for you. Thank you. It's time for the children to come forward. That Jesus taught to his disciples. It was a true story, and he told them what had happened that he saw. One day, Jesus was teaching his people, and he said, "I'm going to tell you the truth. The rich people give a portion of their wealth to the church." You know when that offering plate goes by? Are you in here when that happens? You know those beautiful gold plates?
Well, yeah, I see them.
You see them? Yeah, it's when you're out of church.
Is that how I do it?
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Okay, so this is what we're talking about, is giving offerings. The rich people give a portion of their wealth to the church. They come to the temple and they greet each other. They place their gifts in the treasury, and at the end of the day, they go home to fine houses with plenty of food on their tables. They continue to dress in their fine clothes and eat the best food. The rich do not feel the loss of money they give to the treasury. It is the extra money they have. Now look over there. Do you see that poor widow? She came to the temple and she dropped 2 small coins in the treasury. That's all. 2 small coins. 2 small coins don't seem like much, but that was all she had to live on. She doesn't know where her next meal will come from, but she put God first and gave him everything she had. Her gift appears small, but it is more generous than the money given by the rich. The widow's gift is truly the most generous of all. Isn't that interesting? All right. So, today you all have game Sunday. And then I want you to come back in, Joey and Nicole, have the kids come back in with the end gathering so they can help with the food coming forward. So that'll be fun. Okay? All right, let's pray. Lord God, we're glad to all be here today. We're glad that you see our hearts when we give, so that even if we don't have much, or even if we have a lot, that we can give the best we can with our hearts. I ask that you would teach these children to be just generous and grateful, joyful givers as they move forward into their lives, and help them to have a fun time playing games and have a great week. In Jesus' name, amen.
I like it.
Our psalm this morning is Psalm 24. It is the first 10 verses. Let's read it together. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it. For he founded it on the seas and established it on the waters. Who may ascend the mountain of the Lord? Who may stand in his holy place? The one who has clean hands and pure heart, who does not trust in an idol or swear by a false god. They will receive blessing from the Lord and vindication from God their Savior. Such is the generation of those who seek him, who seek your face, God of Jacob. Lift up your heads, you gates. Be lifted up, you ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty. King of glory may come in. Who is he, this King of glory? The Lord Almighty. He is King of glory. And now please hear the scripture reading from the book of Luke.
Today's reading is from the book of Luke, chapter 16, verses 10 to 13. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. So if you have not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches? And if you have not been trustworthy with someone else's property, who will give you property of your own? No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money.
Oh, good. I know you came to church today and said, I think we're going to talk about money. We're not. Not really. Not focused. We could talk about politics. Oh, we're not going to do that. We'll talk about religion. How's that? All right, that's great. Okay, we are glad to be here today to remember how grateful we are to focus on Thanksgiving, to be with our church family, for which we are so thankful. God, we ask that you would bless this time through allowing us to feel the presence of your Holy Spirit that is always with us. Allow us to feel that Holy Spirit. Help us to use it to interpret this message into our own lives. Help me to speak and to think clearly. I pray in Jesus' name, amen. So, I am not going to speak too long this morning because of two reasons. One, the Thanksgiving in-gathering will take some time. And also, today is the third Sunday of the month, and this year we are having on the third Sunday of each month a testimony, which is someone standing up and saying, hey, God did something great in my life. I want to tell you about it. This is the time God was really real to me, because I figure I can stand up here and do this for 20 minutes on Sunday morning, and that's one thing, but to have people tell the stories of how God actually impacted them is a different thing and a powerful thing. So Hugh Connor is our testimony this morning, and I asked him to give us 3 minutes, and so that'll be about 16 minutes, and so I need to keep it short. I'm aware of this, so I'm caring for your time. This whole fall, since the beginning of the fall, we've been in a series called Becoming. We know that even though we're grown up, we are still becoming who we are going to be in the future. We are becoming who we're going to be next year or in 5 years. And so we ask ourselves, who are we becoming? And as people of faith, we say, I want to become more like Jesus. This is week 9 in our Becoming sermon series. And today we're talking about stewardship. Stewardship is management. It means the same thing as management. A steward is a manager. When we talk about stewardship, a lot of times in church, it's sort of a shorthand for money. It is not only at all about money. It's about how do we manage the things that we are given? How are we stewards of things we are given? So to get into this concept, I have 2 stories to share with you. And one of them I'm so excited. The second one I'm completely excited to share with you. It's one of my favorite stories from college. So I'm setting it up. This may have been you last week. It may have been you 10 years ago. It may have been you never. But in your imaginations, remember with me a time that you were tight on money. And imagine that at that time, you're walking down the street and you're thinking about, man, how am I going to pay my bills? You know, I'm kind of nervous that I'm going to be able to do that, and I've got to be really thrifty this month because I think I can make it, but I'm not really sure, and maybe I'll pay one of those later. Anybody ever done that? Okay, amen. Yeah, I'm going to do it, and you're puzzling through this and your stomach growls. And man, I'm hungry. And then you smell the delicious aroma of your favorite restaurant over there. Maybe Starbucks, I don't know, could be. Maybe some Dunn's. And you're like, oh, that smells really good. But I really can't. I gotta pay the light bill, you know? I'm really not going to. So keep on walking, your stomach growls a little bit more. And then all of a sudden, you look down at your feet. And what should blow up against your foot, just skittering across the sidewalk, tree. Is that not the coolest thing, right? Wow, 20 bucks. I am so excited. And you pick it up and you're like, tell me girls again, I'm going to Starbucks right now, right? Like, look, now I have $20. So I go get a treat. And so you go in there and you get the fainted caramel macchiato, blah, 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 with the thing, and maybe you even get, okay, amen. And then you get the side of something, because you have 20 bucks. And that is so awesome. And you can give yourself a treat. It's wonderful. Maybe you're in such a good mood that you buy something for the person next to you in line too, because you think, man, I just found 20 bucks. And before you know it, boom, $20 gone. Right? That was so fun. That was so great. So maybe you've had an experience like that. Second story. This is true. A friend of mine from college, actually not even a really close friend, is somebody who went to my college, named Ricardo Santa Cruz. He worked with me in the food service. We both worked in the cafeteria. He was a student manager. And this guy, man, he was a hustler. He just really moved. He worked really, really hard. Never like stood long enough to talk as far as I was concerned, because he's kind of cute. He looks a lot like Sam. Very cute. Mexican, American. And anyway, he was always working. And that was great. We kind of knew each other in a work context. But one time he told a group of us his story. And I started to realize how different his experience was from my own. Ricardo's from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and a Mexican-American family. He spoke with a little bit of an accent because he was bilingual. And he had been recruited to come to my college. This is in the mid-90s. They're really, really trying to diversify the student body. And so they really went to underserved communities and communities of color to try to get all these white Minnesotans diversified. And he'd been recruited and had gotten in. But he said, you know, there's a very important reason why I was able to come here. He was from a family of mostly, they had been over maybe one generation or so. I think his grandmother came over from Mexico. Parents mostly still Spanish speaking, working in physical labor type jobs. And Ricardo at a young age showed that he was a pretty good student. And especially in high school, his guidance counselor noticed this kid is really sharp, right? And the guidance counselor said to Ricardo, you have a chance here because you're really good at your studies. If you buckle down and you focus, I bet you can be the first person in your family to go to college. And that caught Ricardo. He was like, yeah, I could do that, you know? And so he started to buckle down a little bit more, and he would bring his books home from school to study. And can you imagine that his parents were like, what are you doing? Like, who do you think you are? You're such a bookworm. You don't have time for that. Are you kidding me? He said that his dad used to turn up the TV in their small apartment to keep him from studying. I guess I don't understand, but true. And so he had to figure out, I'm going to have to study after he told his guidance counselor, they're getting in my way, they're teasing me, they're making fun of me. She said, I will make sure that you have a study area available at school that you can stay after school. And so he studied at school, and he got great grades, and he got into college. And they figured out all the sort of financial aid for him to be able to help him to go because he just didn't have the money at all. They gave him a great work-study package, which is how I met him in the cafeteria. And he would work hard, and he would have his scholarship money, and he would work extra hours, and he would still be on a really tight budget. He was getting by. But then he would have to go buy books. I think that I hear now that books aren't quite as expensive because we have as many, like you can get them on your tablet or whatever on your computer. But back in the day, they were extremely expensive, right? You remember it's $400 or $500 a semester to buy your college books. A huge bill, right? And so Ricardo said a few times, he would be there at college. Parents really weren't interested. They thought that he was, you know, putting on airs, making himself too big for who he really was or whatever, not supported. But his grandmother would call him. And she would say, how's it going? And he would say, well, you know, it's going well, and this is what's happening. And then he would confess to her, I'm actually having a hard time this month because I have to buy books, and I just don't know how I'm going to finish paying for them. I have some, but I don't have enough. And he said it happened just a few times that he had to speak to his grandmother about money. But a few days later, a week later, he would look at his bank account, and there would be $200 or $300 more in the bank account. And it would be because his grandmother would go and make tamales in her kitchen and walk up and down the street selling them to all the neighbors to earn money for her grandson. Isn't that beautiful? How do you think Ricardo spent that money? Those $2 or $300. You think he went out and had a splurge with that? No. That is a precious and valuable gift, a sacrificial gift given to him by his grandmother. He is going to manage that money. He is going to be a steward of that money so carefully to honor his grandmother. His grandmother would tell him on the phone, Ricardo, I'm so proud of you. You're going to go and you're going to do this and you're going to get your college degree. And you're going to come home and you're going to be an example in our whole neighborhood. You're going to make our whole neighborhood better because you're going to show people what is possible in this great country. That what an immigrant can do when they come to this country and work to improve themselves is reach the sky. You're going to be an example of that. And not only that, you are going to be a person who brings back whatever skills that you've learned and things that you've learned, and you're going to make Albuquerque better for our people. She was investing in him, and he knew that. And so when she passed on that money to him, it wasn't just about here's some spending money. It was about, I am making an investment in you so that you can invest back in our community. $20 that blows up against your foot, splurge. $200 earned by your grandma selling tamales so you can buy your school book. As people of faith, we are called to be stewards of what we have, knowing that everything that we've been given, money, yes, but health, job, house, relationships, everything that we've been given is a gift from God. That God is saying, man, here you go. I am giving this to you. And I want to see what you become when I give you this thing. And I'm going to invest in you so that you can come back home and you can make this world a better place. You can bring the kingdom of God here. If I give you this, show me what you will do with it to make the world a better place in my name. Everything that we are given, again, shorthand, stewardship equals money, yeah, part of it. But what about your physical body? Do you regard your physical body, your health, as a gift from God? Do you say, I'm going to really care for this? I'm not going to fill it with a whole bunch of junk and like all sorts of fun party stuff and everything. I'm not going to do that because this is a gift from God to me. And God wants me to take this and use it to bless the world. What about your home? God gave you your home, allowed you to get that home through your hard work and the grace of God. You have it. And so you can look at that and say, wow, I have this amazing gift. What am I going to do with my home to bless the world, to bring the kingdom of God to the world? Right? With my job, with my money. So when we talk about stewardship in church, it's not just like, hey, we got some great bills, we got some bills to pay, and we please think about raising your pledge to $5. Even though it was way better than that, Rob. It was fantastic. It was awesome. It was like the stand-up hour after church last night with Rob here talking about, right? It's not about meeting the practical needs of this building and the staff that works at the church. That's really not at all what it is about. It's about us saying, God has given me this gift, my health, my job, my house, my relationships, my money. And because I recognize that it's a generous and sacrificial gift from God, I'm going to return that to help build the kingdom of God in this world. It doesn't mean that we never ever splurge, I don't think. That's not where I'm headed. I don't want you to feel guilty, Amanda, about your basic caramel macchiato that you ate, right? Right? It doesn't mean never splurge or never have fun, because God wants us to enjoy this life. But it does mean take it very seriously, the way you choose to spend your time, the way you choose to use your home, your body, your relationships, your job, and your money. I pray that we can be people who would be great stewards of everything we've been given, managers of what we have, so that the kingdom of God can be here more fully. Amen. I think, yes. Now, what's that? Is Daniel here? No, I did that on purpose. Daniel. Daniel, oh, there we go. Good. All right. So hopefully many of you have have food for the food pantry. Hopefully, many of you have pledges that for your 2017 pledge card slip. Now it's time to bring them forward. This is the way we're going to say thank you, God, for giving me what you've given me. Come on up.
Rachel asked me to do this a few weeks ago, and
You volunteered, buddy.
I did volunteer. I volunteer for everything around here. But but anyway, she wanted me to share the path that I had to take to have God in my life. And that route was a rather circuitous one. When I was a kid, growing up on the main streets of the city, I had to rely on myself in order to get through almost every day. My old man told me, he said that if you get confronted by a bunch of kids. He said, you pick the biggest one out and break his nose, and if you do that, the rest of them will never bother you again. And he was right, and I did that. And I relied on my guile and my wit to get through all of that. And then when I joined the Marine Corps, I thought that, that all the physical stuff I had been through, that this would be another piece of cake, and I wouldn't have any problem with it. But I found that when I get down to recruit training, they don't call it the crucible for nothing. This was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. And I made it. And I became a Marine. And then I spent the next 2.5 years, probably the best 2.5 years I've ever had, I spent in Washington, D.C. And again, I thought that the reason I was there was because of my good looks and my effervescent smile. Got me to this duty station, which was really marvelous, because I got to see things and do things and greet people and meet people that nobody gets a chance to do. And I got a chance to do that. I met and conversed with 2 presidents, Dwight Eisenhower and John Kennedy. It was incredible, and I thought it was because that I was that good. And when I left Washington, D.C., I had an eye-opening experience for the next 2 years in Southeast Asia. And I survived all that, I thought, because of my training, because that I was smarter than the next guy, and that I could handle situations like this better than most people. And that's what got me through it. And I remember this morning, I had an envelope with a donation for the hymnals that we have here. Norma said, who did you dedicate it to? And I didn't dedicate it to anybody, but the first name that came to my mind was a guy named Wildman Roberts. And I said, I'm dedicating it to Wildman Roberts. And Wildman and I and 4 other guys were on a recon mission up in the A Shau Valley in Vietnam. And we get ambushed. And I'm standing right next to old Wildman. And he took a machine gun burst in the guts, and I didn't get so much as a scratch. And I thought that was pure, screaming Irish luck. Had nothing to do with God. Luck. And we got out of there, and I eventually came home. And when I got home, I went back to college, and I walked on to the football practice, and I made the team. And once again, I thought that was all me. And after I got out of school and I went to work, that's when the real trouble started. I drank too much. I drank an awful lot. And I used drugs, and I became an alcoholic and a drug addict. And I was at the point of losing everything. And I was at the point of losing everything. My life was devastating. And I came to a meeting at the building on the Common here in North Reading of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I ran into a guy named Franny, who became my sponsor, and that was 29 years ago. And we started meeting here in this church, in the parlor, on Thursday nights 23 years ago. And it's a step meeting. And the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous is what saved my life. The 12 steps, the 3rd step I took, and that's when my life really changed. And the 3rd step is that I became willing to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood it. Please forgive me if I choke up a little bit here. It kind of gets in me. But anyway, I've done that, and I came to believe and I came to realize that the reason I survived the mean streets, that I survived the crucible, that I survived the jungles of Vietnam, and that so many of my dear friends like Wildman Roberts didn't, was because God had work for me to do. And today I try to do that work in Alcoholics Anonymous. I sponsor a bunch of people, and I pass the word. I show myself as an example of what can happen and how your life can change if you turn your will and your life over to the care of God, and if you put the plug in the jug, your life will change. And that's what I do now. And then, here at Aldersgate, recently, most of you know that I got pretty sick and ended up in ICU and in the hospital and in rehab and everything else. And I could not believe what happened to me while I was in that hospital. And I cannot believe and could not believe the outpouring of support and love and affection that I got from the people of this congregation. It was incredible. And in my humble opinion, God's handprints were all over that. And it did nothing but to strengthen my belief that God loves me and that I love Him unabashedly. And I got a few people I want to thank here. And Rachel was kind enough to print this out in large print so I could read it. But I want to thank the Spicer family, Al and Sally Abgen for an avalanche of cards and get well wishes. For Cheryl Carr and her two beautiful daughters, Ashley and Amanda. And to my friend Tony Trano, who is not a member of this church but comes here on Thursday nights. Tony is an old hospital corpsman in the Marine Corps, fought in Vietnam at the Battle of Hue City, and was at my doorstep the day I went down at my house. And had it not been for him, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you today. He saved my life. I want to thank Joni Charbox and Steve Darnell, Suzanne Schaefer, Sally Meredith, Marilyn Hutton, who has been an angel to me. She's my landlady, and she helped me immeasurably. And there were 2 days that go by that she has been banging on my door, checking on me. And she has just been wonderful to me. And Norma and Bobby Pierce showed up to make sure I was doing my exercises and taking my medicine, as everybody else that I just mentioned did. And I cannot, and there's one other group that I want to thank too, is Cindy Janet and her kids came to visit me in the hospital and did an awful lot to lift my spirits, which were kind of down that day that they showed up. And I want to thank them for that. And but I am truly blessed to be a member of this congregation and to be friends with all of you people here. And you know, every morning when I wake up, I believe that I wake up with a big shovel full of grace from God. Amazing grace. Just like the hymn that describes my journey so beautifully. An amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Thanks.
Thank you, Hugh. Next month on the third Sunday, Jill Wilkinson will be sharing her testimony. But if anybody's interested in starting in the new year, January, February, and on, please let me know. We'll get you on the calendar. It's time for our offering. Let us pray. Lord God, we are so grateful for the amazing gifts that you give us. Allow us to have the spirit of thanksgiving, not only here this morning, but as we go through the week, on Thursday, and as we continue to live our lives, just recognizing how many gifts we have been given. Receive this offering as an expression of our thanks and gratitude. We pray in Jesus' name, amen. Joey. Quick drums.
Week. Those are tags for the children and the parents to take advantage of the food pantry. So if you could take a tag, write your name down and tag number down. And the gifts are due back to those children by December 4th.
All right, take the tags for sign up and due back December 4th. Unwrapped, I believe.
Unwrapped.
Yes. Thank you, Jeff. Bobby, you have an announcement?
I do. About a month ago now, we were gonna hopefully stain the deck at the parsonage for the tenant up there. However, that kind of got washed out. And this coming week, it looks like we have a fairly good stretch of weather, so I'm hopefully getting together a team to get up there, sand it, prime it, and stain it. So I'll be sending out texts and emails, and anybody that's available, I'd like them to sign up and say, I'll be there.
All right, awesome. So Parsonage Decoration Day, it'll be a number of different days.
Yes, it's gonna probably be a course of 3 days, so that everybody doesn't have to show up for all 3, but whenever you can, and if you can lend a hand, it'd be great.
All right, so just tell Bobby if you're interested in helping out. Do we have a report from the pageant, or announcements from the pageant's leadership? Would you like to do that? Pageant leadership, do you have any announcements? Pageant rehearsals will start next Sunday, even though it's Thanksgiving weekend, and then go into the following week. It'll be during Sunday school on Sunday morning, so just be looking for it. And we're so thankful to Elaine and Cindy Tan for leading the pageant this year. Awesome. Last Thursday night was our annual meeting. If you have a burning desire to see the fascinating and totally just compelling reports filed by all the committees, I do have some extra copies. So, yeah, but some people do love to look at that. But all the different ministry areas reported, plus finance, etc. Let me know, and I'll give you one of the copies that I left over. If you ordered a coffee cake from me for the new North Reading Community Corral, they're in my office. Please just go in there and look for your name. Everybody has paid except for the person who hasn't, who knows about it. So that's fine. All right, so go get your coffee cakes before we leave today. Please stand for the, celebration of thanks. Celebration of thanks. An anonymous member of the church would like to thank Rob Lynch for being possibly the most hilarious treasurer in the whole New England